What I have in front of me today as a Minister responsible for natural gas development is actually a generational opportunity for the entire province of British Columbia. A lot of people don't know what it is. So just so you know what it is, all it is freezing the natural gas. So basically what we do, we take gas out of the ground, send it down by a pipeline to a plant that reduces the temperature of that natural gas to 160 degrees below zero. At that point, it becomes a liquid, and it's 600 times less in volume than it was when it came out of the ground. So we're able to then put that on ships that can take it anywhere in the world and deliver it to our customers in Asia, China, Korea, and India. There will be a massive growth in the requirement for natural gas in those countries in the next 15 to 20 years. Massive growth to the point that it'll be 2.5 times the volume that's required there in Asia than there is today. It will replace coal-burning power plants with natural gas, it will power industry, and it will heat homes and provide services to people in Asia. Back in about 2001, 2002, we thought we had about 15 years of natural gas to service the North American market. That's what we had, an actual known supply. At that time, the members from the Northeast and other folks told us that we should actually change our drilling programs to try and get to a year-round drilling program and maybe change our royalty program so they go a bit deeper and see if they could find more gas. So today, if 30% of our known reserves were actually recaptured, after feeding the North American market 1.8 trillion cubic feet of gas a year, we could supply 5 major natural gas plants to Asia for 84 years. We have that much gas in British Columbia, and we got more to come because of what's going on out there. Let me tell you who's interested. In Kitimat, we have Shell and Chevron. In Prince Rupert, we have BG and Petronas. At Grassy Point, we have ExxonMobil, Nexen, a company out of Woodside out of Australia, and one other company. All of them want to build major plants or are looking to do their feasibility study on those today. We have 3 lower mainland opportunities on what we would call brownfield sites of old pulp mills that are looking at smaller liquefied natural gas plants, and we have 2 other smaller applications in Kitimat. If 5 went ahead, 5, we would see a capital investment in British Columbia of $100 billion to build it. That would be the pipelines and the plants. Our goal is to achieve that, to actually attract that investment to British Columbia and be successful in natural gas development in British Columbia. And this all starts with somebody having some sort of a vision. And the vision started with the Premier of this province, Christy Clark. 18 to 20 months ago, she put together the BC Jobs Plan, but she also put a focus in there that we were going to pursue the opportunities in liquefied natural gas. And from a standing start of just 18 to 24 months ago, we have today a number of things happening. Shell bought the Methanex site in Kitimat. They've also gone forward with a relationship they're building on a negotiation for where they would do their port space with Rio Tinto Elcan. Chevron has actually made a deal with the Haisla on land where the Haisla owns where they'll put their plant. Chevron has already spent in Kitimat on the road going in and taking off the top of a mountain to prepare the site $500 million. They will have another 350 employees in Kitimat within the next 60 to 90 days. And by the end of January, they will have invested $800 million in Kitimat to just do the feasibility work on their site. They will continue to spend through to the next 4th quarter of next year. 4th quarter of next year is going to be important for us in British Columbia because a number of these companies think they'll get to what they call their final investment decision in the 4th quarter of next year. If you get to that investment decision, you get the multi-billion-dollar investment. But don't kid yourself how important it is that we keep our minds focused on this particular thing. Because at the same time, they will go to their boards of directors and say, where's the best jurisdiction for us to do LNG in the rest of the world? And we need to be at the front of the line with those companies when that board of directors makes the final investment decision. And that's our goal. And we have to accomplish that, otherwise they'll spend $1 billion and they might go somewhere else in the world. Our competition is Australia, Qatar, Mozambique, Central Africa, and other countries all wanting to pursue this opportunity worldwide. I like our fundamentals. I think that we have an opportunity to fuel the growth in Asia, move a resource that we don't get the right price for, a good price for in North America as we have an oversupply, create jobs, and create an industry and financial stability for the next generation of British Columbians. When we say we have an opportunity to pull this off and get to where we could actually pay off BC's debt for 15 years and have a legacy fund like a prosperity fund for the next generation of British Columbians, we're not kidding. We've actually done the math, looked at it, and know that we can accomplish that. But more importantly, it is that everybody needs to understand that there's not a golden goose sitting right here, right now doing this. We need to win this race with the rest of the world. We need to actually have the opportunity to see final investment decision. And if we do, we're going to change the landscape of British Columbia forever. Because things like healthcare, education, social services, which are all big costs to government and require revenue for government to maintain, will actually have money coming from this opportunity for BC. You have to remember what a generational opportunity means. It means 75,000 jobs in BC in LNG. It means 50 to 60,000 permanent jobs after the plants are built. It means changing how we do trades and how we deliver people to the workplace so they can have the skills and the job to be able to deliver on this opportunity. But more importantly, as we go through it, it's really about what's our role. So we could have sat back and said, let's just pop a great big royalty on our natural gas and let them figure it out. And we could have ended up immediately, right out of the gate, sending all these people back to the company and say BC and Canada are too expensive to do business in, so we're not going there. Or we could do what we did. We sat down with the industry, not just in British Columbia, but worldwide. And we're working on a model that will actually make the fundamentals work for their final investment decision. Because we actually want the business in BC. And that means we have to do this in such a way that we build a foundation for the future of liquefied natural gas in BC. Our goal is to have 3 of these up and running by 2020, to see some final investment decisions in the 4th quarter of next year. Liquefied natural gas is the only resource that I know of that's actually shipped around the world and runs its own ships based on what they've got on board. In actual fact, a liquefied natural gas ship bleeds off natural gas to run its engines. So it doesn't actually use bunker fuel to ship around the world. It is also a much safer product than most, because if there's ever a rupture of a pipeline or a rupture of a ship, the gas evaporates. So in an environmental situation, it's totally different than some of the discussions around other things we have on the resource base, and we should recognize that. As we go through this, though, I think it's so key that we all understand what we're looking at and why we've got to pull together. There's no political lines on this if you actually believe in the future of your children and your grandchildren and what you want to leave as a legacy to British Columbia, because it affects everybody. And that means our heart and our minds have to be unified in the ability to actually make this happen across the province of British Columbia. Now, I gave a speech recently where I got an interview afterwards, and the reporter said, yeah, you're just way too optimistic about this stuff, Rich. You're just an optimist. It's not going to happen this way. And I looked at this guy and I said, listen, last fall you told me that we didn't have a hope in hell in a particular event that was going to happen on May 14th. I believe in optimism. I believe it actually clears the room of negativity, and it clears the room for the opportunity for success. That's why I'm an optimist. I actually believe that we can pull this off. I don't speak in terms of possibilities. I believe these companies will actually make final investment decisions, and a number of them positively for British Columbia. And if you wonder whether they can finance it or they can handle it, think about this. 5 of the top 6 most profitable companies in the world are here in British Columbia right now doing research and looking at the locations they would want to do liquefied natural gas. And if you're still not sure, go up to Mike Bernier and Pat Pym's area of the province. One company up there last year that drilled 4 pads, equivalent of about 800 wells, is this year going to drill 26 pads. They're already spending billions of dollars in the northeast part of the province to get ready for the opportunity that's going to take place in the northwest part of the province. Like, we are a generation that benefited from an incredible visionary opportunity that Premier W.A.C. Bennett created for us when he actually decided that we would be making sure BC's industrial complex would have electricity. That was a generational change for all of us here. We wouldn't have had the opportunities and jobs and industry in BC if we didn't make that move. Now it's our turn, and we have to seize it. Each and every one of us in this room need to seize this opportunity, because I've got 3 grandchildren, and I know some of you in this room do as well. And by George, there's only one reason to do that. That's to build a better future for the next generations to come behind us. I want my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren and the generations after that to look back on us as leaders in public life in British Columbia and say, they finally got together and worked together for something that was important for the future of all citizens of this province. That's us, all elected people. We have a responsibility to pursue what's good for the next generation. Thanks for having me.